Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to the Green Dog Podcast. I am your co-host, Jacob Prell. Alongside me is the college football savant, Hunter Malone, decked out in rock chalk Jayhawk. Hunter, how we doing this fine day?
I'm doing great. Excited for college basketball. I know we don't do any of that on this side, but still a fan. Not as diehard as college football, but it gets me going whenever we have Akron and UMass. It gives me something that I don't want to absolutely kill myself watching. But we are here. Jacob, how are you?
Doing good. We're about to be in the thick of crossover season, so I am just bracing for dear life. Like, you're visiting, not this weekend, but next weekend down to Waco, and I might be a shell of myself just because we're gonna have a soccer game this Saturday. We're gonna have 2 basketball games on Sunday, and then and a volleyball match. And then when you come, we have men's basketball. We're probably hosting NCAA soccer, then football, and then women's basketball. And we're just moving. We're nonstop right now. But here we are. We're grinding, and we'll make it through. It's gonna be a tough 2 weeks, but we'll be better for it. And my grind in crossover season is sponsored by Olipop. Sponsor me specifically. Strawberry vanilla, the best flavor here. Besides talking about Olipop flavors, let's dive into, you were in Jacksonville, Florida this past weekend, boots on the ground in the Duval County. Last time it's going to be there for 2 years between Florida and Georgia in Everbank Stadium. Hunter, give us the lowdown of what happened down there in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, it was a rough setting. I mean, obviously we had Halloween the night before, so most of the boys went out and then packed up the car early Saturday, drove, got to the tailgate, lucked out. So the parking garage right by the theater, or right by the veteran arena.
Yeah.
So they were like, let's not park in a parking garage, let's hit these lots. You know how there's main lots on the outside? I was like, those are going to be expensive. Hit these back lots first. We turn around, first lot we hit, $80. No, I'm good. Next to it, $20 whole time, done. Popped in that lot, $20, set up our tailgate. I gave him like whatever it was. Like, I think I gave him like $30. I was like, just because I appreciate you. Boom, we get a tent. We tell him we have another car coming. No biggie at all. He was like, man, you tipped me and you're doing my job selling spots. He was like, you're the greatest guest ever. He was super cool. Take that shade over there. Like, awesome guy. Hung out there, as you saw from the video that we've already posted. Indulged in some adult beverages. Did the outdoor cocktail. We did it right. Get into the game. It was Evan's first Florida-Georgia and Mikey's first Florida-Georgia, so they really didn't know what to entail. And Mikey has never seen his beloved dogs play ever before. So he was like a kid in a candy shop, going nuts, going through the full ups and downs that we know Georgia football is. But to do it in person, I thought he was going to have a cardiac event. It was hilarious. I was glad that I had enjoyed. I think that was my 4th one that I've been to. So I knew what to expect and look for, and was able to pretty much film everything from the guys. The LSL made a special appearance, and he was in full effect. I don't know who had more fun, him or Mikey. It was something that the boys will definitely never forget, and the game was one hell of a game. Every game that I've been to was always a blowout that Georgia won, and it never felt like a game, and this was a game to the end, back and forth. But I mean, like I said, I've been to 4 of these. You just knew Georgia was going to come through. They've done it all season. I've never seen the Dogs lose in person, so I didn't expect it to happen. And they pulled through at the end. The questionable, was it a catch, not a catch? I was on the end zone where his back was to us. So I thought it was so much shorter because I watched DJ throw terrible balls earlier. He's rolling across his body, flicks it up, and I was like, oh, that's short. Receiver dives. I thought it was way shorter than that. From where I was sitting, I was like, that's incomplete. No shot.
As somebody who was a couch official, I want to jump in here. It looked like a catch, man. It hit all the criteria that you look for in a catch. And I wish they do what the ACC does, which is like you can hear them in the booth, like call it in and talk and like give the evidence and talk about like we're coming to a like group decision here. Obviously, like people are like, well, we don't know what angles they look at. It's like, for the most part, the broadcast will show you every angle that they can, and most of them are all the same angles the officials are looking at. They just may have a different viewpoint to one or two different cameras. So he came down, and for those watching on YouTube, you're getting the treat here, but it's like he came down, the ball hits his arms here, the ground, and like he caught it. Like there was no evidence that the ground helped him. There was no evidence that the ball hit the ground. He didn't see any turf fly up when he hit the ground. The ball did move, but like it was moving like as it hit his arm as he was going to catch it, and then when he did have possession, it never moved again.
Mm-hmm.
And all the criteria tells you that it's a catch. But I think because it was called incomplete pass on the field, I just don't think they had enough evidence to overturn it. Like, even though, like, you can see one angle and it's like, yeah, that looks like a catch. Looks like and is a catch are two completely different things. So
yeah, in the stadium, they showed us two angles. And, like, whenever I re-watched it to see what it was, that initial pop of, like, crowd going nuts was Florida fans. On the first one, it looked like a catch. And then you clearly hear the whole crowd shift over, and you hear Georgia fans because they showed another angle where it looked like the ball, like, hit forearm / ground and kind of moved to the side. And I was like, that's not a natural jump. And it kind of looked like it moved, and I was like, ooh, from that right there, that's got to be ground to cause that kind of, like, twist and movement. And so it was weird where, like, they kept showing those two angles back and forth. So it was like, that looks like a catch, and the other one's like, that's got a weird bounce. That probably hit the ground. And we were in the end zone, so that split Georgia, Florida, and we're, like, right on the middle of both sides. And, like, everyone was like, I don't think he caught that. Like everyone around us, we're surrounded by Florida fans, and they were just like, "That's not gonna go our way."
yeah,
Like nobody was like, "Oh, that's for sure incomplete." We're all like, "It looks like it hit the. Did it hit the ground? It hit his arm." Like nobody. It wasn't like an Edelman situation where it was like, "I caught it up here." Like I brought it away from the ground, so there's no way you could like. You can see there's a difference between me and the ground, like the ball on the ground. That was like, I caught it on the ground same time, but my arms are here. Like it was nuts.
I think it's a catch, but I do agree with the officials that I don't think there's enough evidence to overturn it. I think when you look, if you're looking at multiple angles and you go, well, that looks like a catch. Well, that's making me feel uncomfortable. That probably tells you that you don't have enough evidence to overturn it. And I mean, it's a pivotal point in the game. It was what, a third or fourth down heave that he threw, or second down. It was pivotal. It was a 40-yard gain. Like it would have put Florida in field goal range to tie up the game.
Yeah, I think it wasn't fourth because that wasn't a turnover. I think it was like second or third down, but it was like Florida was moving a little bit there. And their kicker is good. So you're like, oh, we're getting closer. And then it was like Florida's defense started to turn it up. And I was like, that would have been just like a counter. Like in boxing, or in UFC, you want to have the first and the third hit. Because you can eat one. But if I eat one as I'm throwing a hook, like that will be the knockout. So it's like Florida jabbed. And then Georgia turned it up, and if they would have completed that, that's that hook or cross that might have just been like, knock the wind out of me and be like, oof, it's real. So the fact that they didn't get that kind of, I think it deflated the whole Florida side.
Yeah, that would have been an impressive win. Probably would have derailed Georgia's playoff hopes potentially with a loss like that. But speaking of playoff hopes here, let's dive right into the college football rankings. We got our first iteration of the rankings this week. We have a brand new committee chair. Baylor Athletic Director Mac Rhodes is heading the committee, leaving the hats at the door, signifying it's go time. Let's break it down here. Hunter hasn't seen these rankings. He's kind of, but like we're going to get his live reaction to these right now. At number 25, you have the Tennessee Volunteers. At 24, you have Pittsburgh. At 23, you have 23, you have Washington. At 22, you have the Mizzou Tigers. At 21, you have Michigan. At 20, and arguably the biggest surprise in this ranking is Iowa at 6-2.
They need to be higher. I don't like the one before that.
At 19, you have USC. At 18, you have Miami. At 17, you have Georgia Tech. At 16, you have Vanderbilt. At 15, you have the Louisville Cardinals. 14, you have Virginia. 13, and this was the biggest surprise to me, Utah at 13.
That's low.
Oklahoma is 12. Texas is 11. Notre Dame is 10th.
Ew.
Oregon is 9. Texas Tech is 8. BYU is 7. Ole Miss is 6. Georgia 5. Bama 4. A&M 3. Indiana 2. Ohio State 1.
Ew.
So, first initial thoughts on that ranking there.
I don't understand how you can easily see that there are two teams with a better resume than the team that's number one, and you put them behind it. I don't care what you did last season. That was last season. Ohio State has not looked better than Indiana or Texas A&M. The strength of schedule will go against that. The strength of resume is like Ohio State has had a cupcake walk and hasn't looked great through it. They've looked a lot better of recent, but they're not blowing out teams by 50 like Indiana. Indiana looks like the sure thing. And Texas A&M, the gauntlet of a schedule they've had and the way they've able to handle everything, I think A&M's got the best strength of resume. I would put them at 1 purely for that, but I also, if I was a voter, I think I put A&M and Indiana 2 based off of strength of resume, the record, and how they've looked. Like Indiana looks like world beaters. I think the rest of it looks fine. Memphis is the highest ranked group of 5.
Yeah, that's the prediction right now, is Memphis as the group of 5 winner.
I think the American is going to be like the Big 12 every year, where they're just going to knock each other out. I truthfully and honestly believe that JMU will slide in back door, and they're going to be there, and they've got a good rest of the schedule. It's a smooth path for them to win out and win their conference. So I can't say the same for Memphis. I just don't see it. Who was in 20 that I said ew?
Iowa.
No, give me the 20 through 25.
Iowa, Michigan, Missouri, Washington,
Michigan.
Pittsburgh, Tennessee.
Gross. Unranked. Get them out. No reason why they should be ranked. Notre Dame, you've had 2 games where like they're quad 1 or quad 2, what we could call it for college basketball because we're in the season. You've had 2 quad 1, quad 2 losses and 0 wins. What is your greatest win? Navy? USC.
I will say this, listening to Mac Rhodes talk to the ESPN people, it seemed like, and this is the one thing I've been kind of harping on this show, which Hunter likes to argue against because it is super subjective, which he has a point. Don't let that get to your head, Hunter. I can see it in your eyes. He's like, is that I think they did a lot of stuff on the eye test. They did a lot of stuff they compared metrics, they compared strength of schedule, they compared wins, common opponents, win-losses, and then they kind of broke it down into because they had 3 coaches on the committee, Max said, and he was like, yeah, we also been watching. And at this juncture in time, these are who we think it is. And remember, it's a collective of 12, 13 people, I think. And to me personally, I think this is probably one of the more accurate rankings that we've had all year. Personally, I do agree with Michigan. I don't think Michigan should be ranked. I don't think Tennessee should be ranked either. I think Tennessee being the only 6-3 team in here is kind of a slap in the face. I think you could have put Cincinnati there. I think you could have put Memphis there. Michigan should be gone, and in that case, you could have put Cincinnati and Memphis in, or James Madison, North Texas, even. Right, we can make those arguments there for those 2 teams to be ranked as well. I think the telling sign for me is that they're really devaluing the ACC this year. Maybe devaluing is a bad word, but it from when you look at it with Virginia and Louisville and Georgia Tech all being very close together, and they're pretty separated from the bunch in terms of a conference from the other groups, right? It kind of tells you where they're at and what's going on, and that they just don't respect the ACC, and that they think the ACC is weak competition if Clemson or Miami's not crushing it, right? In Miami, they wasted their opportunity this season. I'm going to say it. You lose to SMU, and then you lose to Louisville. Like, you don't have anything now to kind of hang your hat on. And so, but I think they also, I'm shocked they put Georgia Tech at 17, though. Like, I get you lose to an NC State team that's not exactly great, right? I understand that portion. But would you take Virginia over Georgia Tech right now in Haynes King and what they're doing? Like,
Virginia also lost to NC State.
Yeah. And
a weird non-conference conference game.
And then, obviously, Louisville's one loss is to Virginia as well. So, like, I guess you can value the head-to-head and common opponents. That's why you would put Virginia in front, I guess. In that, I don't know.
I mean, but even then, like, Notre Dame and Miami have the same record, but Miami beat Notre Dame. I mean, that was the most impressive game that Miami has played, was week 1.
Yeah, but I think if you, and this is where I play devil's advocate, is, okay, Notre Dame's wins may not be as good, but when you watch them, they are just getting better and infinitely better each week. And they took.
I mean, I would hope you would look better and better against inferior talent. Like, if like that holds true, then Oklahoma and Texas, who's looked more impressive over the full season? Oklahoma's looked way better than Texas, way more weeks. They have, yes, the 1 week Mateer with a broken thumb, surgically repaired, comes back too early, they lose. They have the same record, one head-to-head, but you put Texas over them. But yet Miami has the same record as Notre Dame. You don't put them over them? Like, whose resume is more impressive, Notre Dame's or Miami's?
Again,
probably Miami's.
But the losses are bad. Like, you lose to Louisville and you lose to SMU, one at home, one on the road, and granted, Louisville's ranked 15th, so we're putting
So top 15 loss is bad?
At the time, it wasn't a top 15 loss, but, like, you started...
Because they don't value the ACC. Like, but the ACC is not sexy.
But we've had this argument here where Notre Dame's 2 losses are by a collective 4 total points.
I mean, if you watch the full game, no. But if you want to read scoreboards, yes. Like, Miami beat the shit out of them. Just like if you were to look last week at Texas-Vandy, Texas beat the shit out of Vandy. And then Vandy scored 21 points in the 4th quarter, scratching and crawling, long drives, we scored, kumbaya, cool. We're in fucking prevent the whole time. I would hope you could get 7 yards, first down, 7, 6. Like, bro, we have backups in. We're in cruise control. The fact that you come back doesn't mean shit to me. All you're doing is saving your job if you're a coach. That's why you see coaches kick field goals. Oh, we only lost by 6 instead of 9. We lost by 1 possession instead of 2. Like,
yeah, but Miami also threw, like, they were doing uncharacteristic shit. And Notre Dame, like, give them credit too. They were battling back to try and win that game. And unfortunately, the luck ran out for them at the end. But C.J. Carr and that offense did what they had to, and so did the defense. Getting to Carson Beck, getting some turnovers, and they did what they had to do. Again, when you look and watch them, in this current iteration of Notre Dame, I would take Notre Dame over a majority of these teams right now. You would take this Notre Dame team over a majority of the top 25.
Over the majority of the top 20, I don't know. No, I feel like I could find 13 teams that I like over Ohio State.
I'm talking Ohio State.
Or Notre Dame, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, then we drop them down, 3 spots? They're still a top 15 team in the country.
I mean, I'd have to pull up the list. Where can I?
Here, let's just do an exercise here. Let's do an exercise. We're gonna go from 15 down. All right, I'll give you 15 down. Notre Dame or Louisville.
Yeah, I'd probably go Notre Dame. Yeah.
Notre Dame or Vanderbilt.
I feel like Vandy would overwhelm them.
Georgia Tech or Notre Dame.
Georgia Tech.
Well, we know Notre Dame, Miami, they played. Notre Dame, USC played. Notre Dame, Iowa.
Notre Dame. Yeah, I don't have any faith in Iowa's offense.
Notre Dame,
Michigan should be ranked. Notre Dame's better.
Notre Dame, Mizzou.
Ooh.
Be a fun defensive game.
Yeah, I think Mizzou's one-dimensional. I think Notre Dame, but even then Notre Dame's one-dimensional. That would be a game that would come down to, can C.J. Carr throw the 50-50 ball and the receivers come down with it? And I don't have faith in C.J. Carr like that. I think Mizzou would win on a nail biter.
Notre Dame, Washington.
See, I really like Washington, but I don't think they would beat Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, Pittsburgh, which we'll find out in next weekend.
Yeah, Pitt's got a gauntlet coming up.
And then for the sake
I want to, it's going to be Notre Dame, but that'll be one that I think I would cheer for Pitt hard, but I think Notre Dame will win.
Then going 14 and above here, Notre Dame or Virginia.
Chandler Morris makes a lot of dumbass mistakes, and Notre Dame's defense would at least take one, if not two back.
Notre Dame, Utah's
Utah's got the best offensive line. Not even close.
Notre Dame, Oklahoma. Notre Dame, Texas.
If you bench his ass and put in the kid from Troy.
I think the interesting part of when you get to teams within the 10 to, let's say, 16 range, right? Maybe 17 in this case with Georgia Tech. That if they play head-to-head, it's going to be a phenomenal game. It's going to be great, right? But you look at a team like, I want to play another game here, right? Their only loss, they have one loss. Their only loss was to a top 10 team. Their win was against a number 3 team on the road, but this team has turned out to be terrible. Fired their coach, actually. In the recent weeks, against Wisconsin has not played great, but overall isn't terrible. Do you know which team I am talking about? A lot of hints there.
Didn't play Wisconsin well. Lost to a number 3 team.
And they turned out to be terrible.
What was the other hint?
Top 10 win, a top 10 loss. Team is currently ranked number 2 in the country.
Talking about Indiana?
Talking about the Oregon Ducks. They don't really have an impressive win. You can say
it was like Indiana.
You could say Penn State on the road, right? But Penn State is bad now, and Indiana is Indiana, and we're like they're a stratosphere above a lot of these teams. What stock do you put in Oregon?
I mean, I don't have them in the Big Ten championship. I think the Big Ten is so top heavy with just those 3 teams. I do believe in Dan Lanning. I believe in the coaching staff.
Does Oregon
before anything?
Does Oregon make the CFP? Because they're going to get a ranked opponent this weekend with Iowa, and then they finish the year with USC and Washington.
If Oregon wins out, for sure they'll be in. Right, you can't have a one-loss Big Ten team, and even if they lose one to anyone but Minnesota, and even Iowa, if you lose to USC or Washington, those are very respectable losses. Washington being on the road, Washington's not an easy environment to win. Head coach for them isn't every conversation for a new job. If the national media respects them, they're for real. And Washington's West Coast, not a lot of media coverage. You're good. They are very, very good. I think they should be probably higher than 23rd, whatever they are. Should probably be ranked a little bit higher than that. The stock that I put in Oregon would be how I felt about Indiana last year, and I think that they'll be in the playoffs, but they might win the first round if it's a home game, but it's just don't know about that test. You thought you did against Penn State, and they broke Penn State's will. But I believe in the coaching staff to, dude, he says turn your team into psychos, and I think Dante Moore has progressed to the point where we're talking about him as a Heisman. I think Dante Moore is good enough to win you games, and I think that defense is very good. They just got to get the run game going a little bit more. I believe in Oregon. I think they'll be in the playoffs. I don't think they'll be in the Big Ten championship. And if they somehow get in because Ohio State loses to Michigan again, that would be probably the worst thing for Oregon and the best thing for Ohio State.
As of right now, the committee has the Texas Longhorns as the 11th ranked team in the country. I am not worried about Texas making the college football playoff because they got to play Georgia and A&M. And I don't see that happening. So I don't see them coming out on top, right? So I'm not worried about them. Oklahoma has a chance to maybe make a case because they get Bama next weekend and Mizzou. So, I don't know if we're going to see a 3-loss team in the college football playoffs. The only reason why Clemson was last year was because they won the ACC. I don't think we're going to see that.
They got an automatic qualifier.
I don't see a 3-loss team making an at-large. So, I'm not worried about Texas and Oklahoma at this time. I think Utah can make a really interesting conversation to potentially be the 3rd Big 12 team to potentially make it in there if Notre Dame is to slip up. But again, Utah's schedule isn't very forgiving in terms of ranked quality. They got a win over Arizona State. They beat and the thing is, when they win, they beat the crud out of people. 45-14 over Cincy, 53-7 over Colorado, 42-10 over Arizona State, 48-14 West Virginia, right? But their losses have been to BYU and Texas Tech, who, as we can see, are top 10.
Extremely good teams.
Extremely good teams. So keep an eye on Utah. The schedule may favor them. If Georgia Tech gets a win over Georgia and they're on the outside looking into the college football playoff, you could see 2 ACC teams make it. But yeah, I think this group of 5 race, though, is going to be really interesting. I think we're in between 4 or 5 teams for this group of 5 race versus last year was Boise State's like all the way. Because you got Memphis as the current front runner. You have James Madison sneaking around there. You have South Florida, who has been really impressive all year. You have San Diego State making some noise. And then you have the high-flying North Texas offense. So I think there's a lot of interesting stuff happening with these rankings and things to keep an eye on and some storylines. But remember, it's one iteration. It's one iteration. Things can change next week in terms of the top 10. We're definitely going to see some movement because Texas Tech and BYU have to play each other. So we'll see what happens there. And yeah, shall we move on to our Week 10 recap here, Hunter?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, I really don't have any beef with this rankings. I think it's just slight rearrangement of like the top 3. I think I would flip Oklahoma and Texas, probably move Notre Dame back a little bit, Miami up, and then I'd drop those 2. And I would add probably Cincinnati and Memphis. So and it's not like we saw the AP polls. I mean, this is the last week that they were relevant. They were relevant for 2 days. And my goodness, were some of those brutal. Like the guy out of the Baton Rouge, he's trying. He's trying to just make it the most like painful. Like you lose all credibility. And I don't know, as an AP, not even voter, but like who's in charge of the AP? Who's supposed to audit this thing and be like, yo, what are you doing? Like, can we get a drug test for this guy or gal? Like, I'm very happy that the AP has no real say in anything. And I don't hate the committee's list. I agree with it more than I disagree with it. So I think it's a very productive list. Week 10 recap. Let's do it.
Week 10 recap here. Let's dive into the first game. We already covered Florida, Georgia. Let's talk about Oklahoma, Tennessee. I said this on the Deal with D&J TikTok. I said Tennessee is, you know the Instagram page, the Hall of Very Good? That's what Tennessee is. They're never going to be great. They're not Hall of Famers. It's not the Hall of Very Great. It's not the Hall of the Elite. It's the Hall of Very Good. And that's what Tennessee is. They're very good. But guess what? They're never going to be enough to beat the other team. And to beat other teams, it's any team's ranked higher than them. And I think in this case, they were actually ranked ahead of Oklahoma, but we never felt like they stood a chance. Did we all pick Tennessee in this game? Is that what happened?
We all picked Tennessee.
I forgot we did that. I think my bad. Looking back, I don't know why we did that. I guess because it was Tennessee at night, maybe. I don't know.
I can tell you why I did it. I just watched Ole Miss completely destroy Oklahoma's secondary, and I went, if Ole Miss can throw all over this defense, Tennessee, with the deep choice option routes that they provide and that they like to run schematically, that's going to give DBs fits because they have to communicate and know every play what's going on. Not like they don't already, but when they add motion, they spread everything wide. That allows running lanes to be easy. You start creeping in the box, and they have choice. And early on, Tennessee was fucking them up with in-breaking routes. And then in the second quarter, they said, go. Why? It's that, and it's nothing on the coaches because it is the system. The wide receivers have to keep going in-breaking. Where's our success? In-breaking. Why are you going deep when your success is here? Like, it doesn't make any sense. As soon as you guys stopped going in-breaking routes and go routes, you lost all momentum. You started punting. And Oklahoma just out-muscled Tennessee. Like, they found a way to get it done. And as a coaching staff, the fact that you're not correcting them, making second-half adjustments, correcting it, I need those in-breaking routes again. Yes, you have the choice. You have options. It's kind of hard. It's very difficult schematics to kind of go over. It's not really something I could just put on the whiteboard and show you. Like it's a lot of reading and reacting, but it's when done correctly, it's insanely difficult. Like you can't scheme around it because they're scheming around you. And so I just thought that with Tennessee losing their third game now, they're officially out of the playoffs. Like it's very hard for me to see a 3-loss team make it. And it's a shame because Tennessee's really good. Like, this is a very good team. I liked the fact that they went out and got Aguilar. I liked him better. If Nico was on this team, I liked Aguilar more. So I feel like I would have expected them to use Ole Miss's game plan. I would have loved to see Brazil or Brazil, whatever you say his name, give him the ball more. That's your best playmaker. You need to get him on in-breaking routes. Like, that's where you're successful is. But you came in through the clutch. They found a way to win, and Oklahoma's got a gauntlet, and I don't think they're going to survive. I think Oklahoma knocked out Tennessee, but he's about to get knocked out by Bama.
Yeah, I think Tennessee, again, I think my assessment of the Hall of Very Good is pretty good for them. Heupel has done nothing there. Like, yeah, you made it to a college football playoff with Nico, but, like, that didn't got smushed. And even then, like, you didn't do anything really last year. You just had, like, you had an impressive win over, like, an Alabama team that was, like, really struggling to figure out who they were and an identity. I don't know. Like, it's interesting that a guy like Heupel and the success that he's had at Tennessee, he's not getting phone calls about leaving the programs. But we're making conversations about Drinkwitz, and they've had arguably the same level of success in their tenures at their established programs. So I find that interesting, and maybe that's just me overreading stuff, but that's what I find interesting there. I just don't know what to make of this Tennessee team. I don't know what to make of the roster anymore. They're just good. They tend to deviate away from who they are, but what's new, right?
I mean, you can make the same case. The BYU coach isn't getting any offers. I mean,
yeah, but
what he's been able to do at BYU.
He's never going to leave BYU.
I mean, he just fits so well. It's kind of the same with Josh Heupel in Tennessee. Like, he just fits so well there that I don't, unless it's like the Oklahoma job, I really don't see him going anywhere until he's ran out of town. And you ask, what has he won? Well, what has Tennessee won since you've been alive? Nothing. They haven't won the SEC. They haven't won a Natty. So the expectations are national championship? Ridiculous. You haven't won since before I was born. Did Manning win a Natty while he was there? No. So what are we fucking talking about? We're going to win a national. We're going to win the SEC. You haven't. They're the most overhyped fan base that has. Like, you would have thought they would have won several in my lifetime. And I'm 25. I'm a grown-ass man. Tennessee has not won shit. Lower your expectations. They're winning 9-10 games every year. Be fucking grateful. Like, if I'm Josh Heupel and I'm hearing this, like, oh, we're out of the playoffs, fire, like, bro, if I hear any of that shit, y'all can kiss my ass. Like, what he picked up from Butch Jones. He picked up the pieces and turned this, and Butch Jones couldn't get him to the promised land. They were set at, 8-4? And now they just won 10 games. Now they just hit their third loss, but you're telling me you were upset with being 9-3? Going to a really good bowl game? We're upset about that? If some chaos goes down, if Notre Dame loses a third game, you lost your quarterback at the last second, found Aguilar, and he's played way better than you would have thought. The amount of Aguilar hate and disgust I've heard preseason, even from like our own podcasts, they're like, this guy sucks. He's not good. I was like, no, he's very good. He's very talented. They're going to be there. And they were. Like, you didn't have any faith in Aguilar before the seaon. Not at all.
Because the situation he was walking into doesn't feel impossible, but you're not putting the guy in success. The guy went the entire nearly offseason being a UCLA quarterback, and at the last second now has to go learn the Tennessee offense. Like, on paper, doesn't strike like you're going to have a ton of success. You know what I mean? Like, like you're going to be, especially because I'm not going to say, he's it is a major step up from Appalachian State, but it's a daunting ask to ask a guy to come in June to learn the playbook in a training camp, and now you got to relearn your team. Like I never doubted the talent. It was more doubting the situation he was getting himself into.
I mean, but who else shows up in June? All of your freshmen. So why did we have more faith in Bryce Underwood to pick up a Michigan offense when he learned high school offenses?
I did not have faith in Bryce Underwood.
Like, or any started like Bear Bachmeier, because I was calling that shit out in June too. This Bear kid's the best quarterback on there. He's gonna start. Like, we could sit there and look at these freshmen and be like, they're ready to go. He's playing. I don't think he's gonna be ready. But then we have this 22-year-old who understands football, can read defenses, really only has to learn the offense, which are choice routes and option, and it's the deep choices. It's, as a quarterback, you just have to learn tendencies of your receivers and that feel good. See, hey, they're running, cover 3. So find the gaps, find the holes. So they're playing man, but they're playing outside, breaking routes, throw it inside. Like, it's still offense. It's not it's not rocket science. I promise his classes are probably more difficult than that offense is.
I think my line of logic was totally sound, so I'm not concerned about it. Anyways, moving forward here, SMU, Miami, let's kind of break it down here. I did not have a chance to really watch this game because it was concurring at the same time as Baylor UCF. But Miami loses in a heartbreaker. The Carson Beck ugliness is starting to rear its head a little bit in terms of some bad decisions. But I don't think I placed the blame on Carson Beck in this game. I think it's the play calling. I think you got to look Mario Cristobal in the face and go, like, you got to audit him and be like, what are you doing, dude? What are you calling? What are you calling in these moments? Like, there's been a lot of boneheaded decisions. We can always go back to when instead of taking a knee, they ran the ball and they fumbled. And
against Georgia Tech.
Yeah. We can find all and then we look at the Notre Dame game and we're like, oh my God, they didn't mess it up. They wanted to, but they didn't. This is a different Miami team. Watch out. And then here we are in November, and it's actually, fun fact, the same old Miami team that we've known and loved to dunk on. I thought SMU played really well. Rhett Lashley and that team being at SMU definitely had juice to it. That stadium was rocking. There was a lot of energy down there. And they stormed the field on a pretty big win. You pretty much killed Miami's playoff hopes at the moment, it seems. Crazier things can happen in the ACC, though, with 4 weeks remaining. So, yeah, it's an interesting dichotomy of things with Miami, but I'm not surprised that they lose another game like this, but do we have a serious conversation about Cristobal and the play calling? It's getting because Carson Beck was like, I ran the play that was called, and that kind of sounds like I did not like this play, but I ran it, and that was the result of what we had.
Yeah, I mean, the blame isn't on Carson Beck. It shouldn't be, and it also wasn't a Carson Beck issue last year. You had the best offense in the country, and you still. It was the defensive problem. So what do we do this year? Improve the defense, and now you're not losing in embarrassing fashion. You're still losing. I kind of alerted to this last week. SMU lost to Wake Forest last week, probably because they were locked in on Miami. So 2 weeks of preparation for SMU for this Miami game. Miami's first road game. Miami in November.
Miami's first game out of the state of Florida. Let's preface.
Yeah. Miami. So since 2022, if you had to go August through October, what do you think Miami's win percentage is?
October through November, you said?
No, August through October.
I think it's 700 something.
Yeah, it's 77.
Yeah.
They're winning 77% of the time. November alone,
sub
29%, 28.6. You're winning one game in the month of November. So you had this game plan, right? And you probably hide it against Bethune-Cookman and FAMU, and then you can get away with your, Wake. You go and play Virginia Tech, and then you have to play FSU. You have to show your cards. And you play Louisville, and you have to show your cards. And then we go, wait. Well, you played Florida early on. You showed your cards there. Head. Okay, so they like to do this, and that. And then you don't make any adjustments. And you run those plays that they're like, wait, we've seen this. There's film. Run this coverage. Oh, it got stuffed. Well, when it gets stuffed, what do they like to do? They like to run the ball. Let's load the box. Oh, they ran the ball right in. Oh, look at that, 3rd and long. Cover 3, pass. Keep your eyes on the quarterback. Go ahead and check down, wrap up. They become so predictable to the point where it is since 2022. I've got 3 months of film on you: August, September, October, and I could even throw in spring ball. Dude, you're not changing anything mid-season. You're not hiding anything. You're not making any adjustments, and you're not making in-game adjustments. Is what this is telling me. You're being hard-headed. You're trying to run the ball inside when the defense is there. Why don't we bounce it outside? We want to run screen passes, but they're playing underneath. I don't know. We run some screens. Or not screens, but you run wheels off of the screen. You watch film? Cool, watch this touchdown. I'm glad you watch film. Get baited. Something like this is something that elite play callers do. This is why guys like Stark have head coaching jobs, and Lane. These are the most creative offensive minds, and they are so good at their job that they're now head coaches. Who's the next young, hungry offensive coordinator? Go grab him. Grab a guy like Ben Arbuckle, whose offenses looked great. Granted, he has a quarterback that knows how to run it to perfection, up until the thumb. They look like world beaters. It just hurts my brain that it's the same shit over and over again. You had another coaching error late in the game. You have a good kicker, a multi-million-dollar quarterback, and you don't throw that shit to get you in field goal range. No, you take a fucking knee. You had 24 seconds on the clock. You failed to do that. I could talk about the missed pass interference on Malachi Tony. That's not why you lost the game. The holding call, the lack of discipline, the fact that it's a lack of discipline every game. Why is it every game you have more than 5 penalties for 70-plus yards? What the fuck are you teaching you? Stop holding. Stop doing dumbass pass interference. If you get beat deep, yeah, then I don't mind the 10, 15-yard penalty instead of the 70-yard touchdown. But, it's so the roughing the passer call on 3rd down. Bro, I get it. You couldn't hear the whistle, and you held him up. Refs, poor fucking job. What are we doing? He didn't tackle him. It's loud. Deaf-ass whistle. I rewatched it on TV. If we can't hear it and there's mics on top of you, blow your fucking whistle like you mean it. And it just, if you look on Twitter, because I had to watch this secondhand because YouTube TV sucks and we were at the game, everywhere I saw was it felt like Miami had to not only beat SMU, but the refs, is what I saw all over Twitter. So with that, Miami did their best to sell the whole season, and congrats, you did it.
Can't put it better myself. Cincinnati, Utah night strikes again. It is, sometimes you look back after you make picks and you're just like, sometimes it's as simple as it's Utah at night. You just don't bet against that, right? So, I don't know, man. Utah, the offense is so good. Devin Dampier looks good. He's making good reads. And the only problem I've had with Dampier is when he does go up against superior talent, aka the losses in BYU and Tech, he looks inept and looks terrible. But man, they looked good in this game, man. They took it to Cincinnati. Cincinnati could not handle the noise and everything going on down in Salt Lake. But I was really impressed with this team. Incredible uniforms and hand-painted helmets, the all-black on a Saturday night. That place was rocking. Yeah, man. I was super impressed with Utah. I think that's kind of as simple as I want to keep it. I was impressed with Dampier. I was impressed with Whittingham and the play calling. Really impressed with the O-line and what they could do to Cincinnati. But other than that, I'm going to keep it short and sweet there.
Yeah, this game was over at half. Utah poured it on more in the second half. And what sucks is I like Cincy a lot, but they were never in this game. And Utah's got the best offensive line in the whole country. I've said it before. I will continue to repeat it. They are mean and nasty. And what I really love is Wayshawn Parker finally is getting the carries like I thought he was going to day one. And I even looked more into it. I was like, why is he not getting his reps? Why? That was the reason why I was going away from Utah. And I was like, dude, your best running back isn't getting carries. What? I like Cincinnati. You're not utilizing the best talent on your team. And Cincinnati looked good. Then they give him 15 to 20 carries, and he shows you he is a bad man. The only way to really beat Utah, stop the run game, and make Devin Dampier a pocket passer. Make him a statue, and then you'll have to do it. But Utah's defense is nasty, man. They're going to be exciting to watch, and we'll see them in 2 weeks in Baylor.
Night game down in Waco that got announced earlier this week. Let's talk a little bit here of... Jacob's got to pull up his notes here. Let's talk a little bit about the ACC. Right, last week we talked about the Big 12 and how that likes to cannibalize itself, but it feels like the ACC is kind of wide open right now. Georgia Tech had a stranglehold on it, but with their loss now, I believe they have slipped to second at this moment in time. They have a better overall than Pitt, and as of right now, it looks like it goes Virginia, Georgia Tech, Pitt, Louisville, and then SMU. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 5 teams at 5-1, and Virginia is undefeated. Georgia Tech's remaining schedule is Boston College, Pitt, and Georgia. Virginia's is Virginia Tech at some point, Duke and Wake Forest. Going to be really interesting in that Duke game. Pittsburgh gets Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and Miami. God. So we're going to find out what Pitt's made of in the next 3 games. And then if you're the Louisville Cardinals, you get Kentucky, SMU, and Clemson, and the Cal Golden Bears. Everything's a little bit wide open right now. We don't really trust Virginia, but Virginia keeps finding a way to win, though. It's kind of like, do I trust you to win, or do I trust you to not lose the game? It's kind of the way you look at it with Virginia, because they struggled against North Carolina. They're going to get a tough test against Wake Forest this week. I believe they are Wake Forest, correct? Yep, they're going to get a tough test against Wake Forest, right? They barely beat North Carolina. They struggled against Washington State. They got a big win against Louisville, right? And, and then they lost to NC State very similarly to Georgia Tech. Hunter, where do you stand with the ACC? What are your thoughts? And is it as wide open as I'm thinking, or do you think it's more narrow than anticipated?
I think it's more narrow. I think it's a 3-leg race, if I'm being honest. And before the season, I think we all were like, oh, the ACC is a 3-leg race between Clemson, Miami, and Georgia Tech. Man, were we fucking wrong. It's got to be against Virginia, Georgia Tech, and Louisville. I think Duke has to play, the triangle coming up. And North Carolina looks better every week. Wake is not a rollover. You've got Pitt at 12% to make it, and poor Pitt. Dude, who did you piss off to put Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and Miami to end your schedule? Poor Pitt. So they're gone. And then you have SMU sitting at the same as 12% as Pitt. The fact that UVA's one loss is to NC State and it doesn't count as an 8, why did you do that? Why? What was the point in that? Just schedule somebody else. I'm not a fan of that. I don't want to see that go on in the future. Georgia Tech looks good. I think Georgia Tech will be the other team. I think it'll be Virginia, Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech comes out and wins. Just the way they match up. I like Georgia Tech's offense. I like their defense. Their defense really struggles against elite wide receiver talent. You saw that early on against Colorado, and Colorado is not elite in anything, but they are explosive and love to make the big highlight plays. I think Georgia Tech struggles mightily when it comes to that kind of offensive output and anything over the top. If you put them against Louisville, I think that's a mismatch because Miller Moss is not afraid to sling it. Georgia Tech has to face Pitt, and Pitt kind of plays that way, but they are a little more balanced. And then they play Georgia, and Georgia loves to play that offense. So Georgia Tech goes at Boston College, who just played Notre Dame tough. I think Boston College just had an emotional loss. I think that'll be a rollover. I think Georgia Tech beats them. And then Pitt will be interesting, considering Pitt will play Notre Dame the week before and then roll into at Georgia Tech. So schematically, I think it's Virginia, Georgia Tech. But if Louisville wins out, they're going to make it an issue. And I think Georgia Tech is probably the only one that makes it alive. I just don't trust Chandler Morris with the football. He makes horrible decisions time after time. Careless with the football. Will throw interceptions, at least 2. Mixing the fact that he does scramble a little bit, so one good pop, and, he carries that ball like a loaf of bread. He might put one on the ground, and it wouldn't be the first time. So I guess they haven't lost more than once, but I also am not oh my God, have you seen Virginia's resume? Like, it's just not a team. It's kind of like how I felt about Boise State last year. It's like, yeah, cool, they're undefeated, but like, or they lost one game to Oregon, but, you know, they kind of backdoor covered last year. Like, who are they playing? Hawaii, great win. Like, that's how I feel about Virginia. Like, you've played, the ACC is not sexy this year, and they don't have the top-heavy guys. Like, they don't, like, Miami's Miami. Clemson is horrible. Florida State's a big brand, but they are so bad. Georgia Tech is so good and so talented, but they're not sexy. A lot of people still think of them as a triple option. They're just not sexy. Louisville's not sexy. Duke's not sexy. SMU. Literally, the NCAA tried to kill off SMU 40 years ago. Like, that's why they're not getting respect, and I don't respect Virginia at all.
Say it better than me. I'll tell you what. The ACC is just gross. You think about it and you're like, oh my god, this.
Like, the Big 12 to me is way more sexier than the ACC. Like, it's just the best way to describe it. Like, it's like they're the nice girl, right? Like, you've got hot girls and they're bitches. You've got really cute girls that have good personalities, and you're like, damn, that's wifey material. And then there's like their friends, and then there's the AC, and you're like, hey. And they're like, you want to buy me a drink? You're like, no. Like, they're just there. Like, they're not sexy. They're not the girl you want to ask to the dance. They're the girl you might dance with for a song, but you're not asking them to go to the dance with you.
Speaking from experience. Well, earlier this week on Sunday, Hugh Freeze was let go as the Auburn Tigers head coach in a very uneventful season that it's been. Not only do you lose a heartbreaker to Mizzou, you get smushed the rest of the way, and then you lose 10-3 to Kentucky, where they can't. Kentucky is trying so hard to get rid of Mark Stoops, and Mark Stoops is like, you can't get rid of me. Here I am. I'm going to figure out a way to just keep my job one more week. And that's exactly what he's done. This coaching cycle is going to be crazy because I don't know who, granted, not sure Hugh Freeze should have ever been the guy for Auburn, but don't want to say who can you get better because you obviously think you can get someone better. But, like, he just swung and missed on a quarterback and missed on it. Like, he swung and missed on a quarterback twice in the transfer portal. And that's ultimately what did him in. Because the rest of the team is nasty, but they don't have a guy who can get those playmakers the ball. And unfortunately, it cost him his job.
Yeah, no, I'll put this better than the video that we put out because I was painfully hungover, half asleep, and just hating life. Hugh Freeze probably shouldn't have been your hire, and you hired him because he is a quarterback whisperer, right? And he upgraded every position group but the one you expected. He missed on every quarterback. Let's not, like, he swung and missed, and he got what? Hawkins this year. You went and got Jackson Arnold, your big one. Or no, what's his name? Ashton Jenkins. He's terrible.
Yeah,
you've got the one transfer that's terrible, Jackson Arnold, who is not it. Head case, you saw that at Oklahoma. Last year, Peyton Thorne, oh my God, you had 3 guys telling him what plays were coming in, and you were wondering why your offense was terrible? Poor Peyton Thorne, dude. Like, I felt so bad. You've gone 6-16 in the SEC and 15-19 overall. Like, keep in mind, they ran out Gus Malzahn because he had won, like, only 6 SEC games in, 78 days was the stat, right? He was, that's not acceptable here at Auburn. Not at all. Hugh Freeze, in 1,070 days, has won, guess how many SEC games? 6. So you fired Gus Malzahn, probably the best head coach you've ever had, other than maybe the one that recruited, Bo Jackson and them. Gus Malzahn won you a national championship, recruited and snagged Cam Newton, and Cam Newton carried you to the promised land single-handedly. He is what Danny Manning is to Kansas. I've never seen anything like this in football. Football is 11 on 11. Ain't 5 on 5 where you can do ISO ball and win. 11 on 11, Cam Newton carried you to a national championship game. Gus Malzahn beat Bama every other year to keep his job, and you fired him, and Hugh Freeze has never been better than him. Hugh Freeze should have never been the choice. And now with all the jobs being open, who the fuck wants to go to Auburn? Like, you're the second best team in your state. It ain't even close. You have a little brother complexion. Like Auburn, like we were just talking about how the ACC's that one girl that you might dance. Auburn's cute. Auburn's a cute girl. But when I got LSU right over there in the same conference, that's a bad chick right there. That's who I'm asking to dance. So if you're Auburn, you're like, we're going to go get Lane Kiffin. We're going to go get, we're going to go to Marcus Freeman. No, you're not. No, you're not. Call up Toledo, or not Toledo, Tulane. Go get the cat from there. Go get somebody that's cute. Like, stay in your lane. Like, I don't want to hear Auburn is this great hire. It's this great place to be. Since when? You just claimed 7 national championships because you can't fucking win one. You've only won with Cam Newton, and then that's maybe one other one? Like, they've won 2 real ones, and you claimed 7 because the AP poll back in 1956 liked you. They were like, wow, that Auburn team was really good. They won the regular season. Not the bowl game, but the regular season. They're our national champ. The fuck is Auburn makes me so mad. And you fired, 3 coaches? They still pay the 3 coaches, and it adds up to like $52 million, which is insane that you're paying 3 coaches. Yeah, Gus Malzahn's buyouts was $21 million. Brian Harrison, 15. Hugh Freeze is $16 million. The last 3 buyouts are $52 million, and you could have just kept Gus Malzahn because you're never going to get anyone better than him.
Yeah, I think you're on one tonight. You're saying it all incredible. I think with Auburn, you have to have a hard reality with what your program is. Your program, you're going to need a builder. You're going to need a culture guy. You're going to have to look a hard look in the mirror and realize you think you're better than a South Carolina, better than a Mizzou, better than a Vandy, better than a Mississippi State. Guess what? Okay, maybe Mississippi State.
You're probably on plane with all of those.
I think they're below 3 out of 4 of them. I think if you're Vandy, you live in Nashville. They're doing stuff. Right.
But your little brother to Tennessee. You're in Tennessee.
They might
Mississippi State. Little brother to Ole Miss.
They get to prove it this year in this Tennessee-Vandy match this year to prove that they're not. Listen, though, but if you're Auburn...
Bro,
we're not doing the little brother conversation. If you're a recruit, Auburn thinks they're with the big dogs. They think they're Bama. They think they're Tennessee. They think they're Florida. They're not. They're barely on the same plane as Vanderbilt and Mississippi State. I think Mizzou and South Carolina are ahead above them right now. Slightly. Not much. Slightly. They're probably, if you're Auburn, you're actually probably on the same plane as Arkansas.
Oh.
Yeah. That's where they currently are.
To be honest with you, I think I would rather be at Arkansas because I have Jerry Jones and Walmart's NIL fund.
Yes. And the Tyson.
I think it's an NIL as a builder and lower expectations. I think I would rather prefer the job at Arkansas.
Again, Auburn thinks they're going to maybe get Summerall. Maybe they get Brent Pry. Is it Key or Pry from Georgia Tech?
Brent Key.
I get him and the fired Virginia Tech coach mixed up. Maybe you get Brent Key, but Brent Key is probably going to get a bigger job, and he may not want to leave Tech. So, if you're Auburn, you have Durkin is your head coach right now, you're probably just going to have to keep him. You're going to have to keep the interim tag on him for another year and maybe see what happens. But you can't do that to your donors and the influences and the powers that be, right?
I can tell you Auburn Twitter and message boards do not want Durkin to stay.
No, they hate him.
They do not want him at all.
What?
If I'm Auburn, clean house. Clean house all of them cats. Go find you a coach that is hungry and eager.
Who are you gonna get?
And knows how to build.
Jerry Neuheisel, UCL, the coach who caught lightning in a bottle. I saw Fran Brown in the conversation, I think, for this job from Syracuse.
Do you hire a coordinator or do you want another head coach? I think if you're Auburn, you take the number 1 coordinator, offensive or defensively, that's ready to get promoted, and you...
Ben Arbuckle?
Ben just got offensive coordinator. He is...
But was he not the OC at Wash State?
He was for a year or 2, but he was mostly a quarterback coach. He's just now... That's his first real big OC job. I don't think Ben is ready.
I just don't know. I think you do. I think I agree with you. You have to be honest with yourself because you're not going to get any of these premier guys. You know, you're not going to be like you don't. You. I think they're living in a little bit of a delusion and maybe thinking they could go the A&M route and be like, well, we can go get a guy like Elko from somewhere. And I'm like, where? Though?
But you could have.
You could have.
You could have gotten Elko.
You missed them. You went with
You could have gotten Elko. And I think if you want to go for where's the next Dan Lanning, you pull from Ohio State and you get Brian Hartline. But does Brian Hartline have the Alabama SEC area, the Southeast region? Do you have the pipeline for it? I know you can go and get talent from Miami. I've seen your wide receiver room. That shit should look like Miami's wide receiver rooms because they're all from Miami. So I know you can recruit South Florida. And if you can get them to go all the way to Ohio State, where it's cold as hell up there, you're in Ohio where there's nothing, bro, I know I can get you to Alabama. I know I can get you here to Auburn.
Does a guy like Matt Patricia, former NFL head coach?
No. Ew. Matt Patricia lost all credibility in the NFL. I don't see him coming to the college world and being successful.
As a head coach, you mean?
Yeah, as a head coach.
I just don't know where you go, if I'm being honest with you. Like, there's so many jobs open. Like, Maryland's job is open, which they should never have fired that guy. Maryland was in every game this year, and you fired him? That didn't make any sense to me. That was a real head-scratching firing that made no sense to me. I don't know where you go, because Oklahoma State's open, Arkansas is open. We've talked ad nauseum about Penn State, Florida, and LSU. Like, Virginia Tech's looking like they're locking in on James Franklin. Like, where do they go from here? Where does the show end? Where do you go? I don't know. Do you get, I hate to say it, do you go get Kirby Moore from Mizzou? Like, is that your best next option? That's not great either. Does Brian Baker get a chance from LSU? Like, you know what I'm saying? None of those guys are good picks. Like, do you get I don't know the defensive coordinator's name from Georgia. Like, do you get him? Do you get the OC from Georgia? Do you get the OC from Ole Miss? Like, I don't. If you're Auburn, like, I think you should have waited one more year, because here's the thing. You're not going to get Golish, you're not going to get Summerall, and you're not going to get Key. So, if you're not getting those three big fish, I don't know where you go, because I don't see the JMU coach leaving. Do you get the North Texas head coach?
That's where I was going to go, is you go for a North Texas and Eric Morris. You try and get him because he's kind of part of that Texas Tech pipeline, or that family tree of that air raid offense, which I think would do very well at an Auburn style, especially with the quarterbacks around there and the talent that is embedded right near them. Georgia has a huge bed of talent, as well as Florida, and it's all right there. Like, Auburn should be getting the recruits to be good. And I'm not saying that they aren't, but you're missing on quarterbacks. You're letting talent walk right past you. They're all going to Bama. Like, stop getting Bama's leftovers and start eating off the plate. Go, like, dude, like, go get up and go get your food, bro. It's there. You know where it's at. Go get the talent. And I think an Eric Morris would do well. I don't see USF's coach, was it Golish, going there. I think you have to go get a Brian Hartline, big name. Like, take a chance on that coordinator. And because it worked out great for Arizona State and Kenny Dillingham, and it worked out great for Oregon with Dan Lanning. First head coaching jobs for them. Both dogs, psychopaths. And Brian Hartline has that same mentality. I think he will be very successful as a head coach. And I think after learning under Ryan Day for so many years, I think he is ready. And he deserves to go and take the chance. And Auburn is your little brother. You just spent, $15 million on Brian Hersling and $16 million on Hugh Freeze. I think I could have saved you $31 million and said, just stick with Gus Malzahn, but go get Brian Hartline. Figure it out. Take the chance on the coordinator.
I think if you're Auburn, you have to have a serious assessment of your program, your standards, and where you are as an athletic department. In terms of football, yeah, you can't. You've been on one today. You've said it perfectly, like, in terms of some of these takes, and you're not going to catch bigger argument for me other than who do you get. I personally, I would have waited. I would have held out till next season if I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think instead of firing him like you did, and now you're the, seventh sexiest option, hold on him for a year, and then you are the number one choice in next recruiting cycle. If Lane Kiffin has a terrible year next year, after we're all like, Lane, please come to me, and then he falls off a cliff, Austin Simmons plays horrible, and Trinidad gets hurt, and they go 4-8. Like, you don't think Lane, this world like that, you can be highly loved and then fired very, very quickly. So if that happens, you're telling me Lane's not like, well, all right, Ole Miss, after I just did this for you, you're going to fire me after one bad season? All right, I'm staying in town. I'm going to be in the SEC, believe that. I'm going to Auburn. Why not be the sexiest option next year?
Yeah. I think sometimes I get the political nature of it because you're like, well, we can't trot them back out there with all these donors. We're going to lose season ticket holders. I'm like, no, you're not. They love Auburn to a fault. And if you're sitting there, I think most people can also read the room and realize in the SEC right now, you're losing to Florida and LSU in terms of the head coaching battle. And then and then you got to fight off Arkansas, right? And obviously we don't know what's happening at South Carolina yet. Shane Beamer could be on the market potentially. I don't think he will be, but you never know. Dabo could be on the freaking market soon. But I think Clemson's in the same boat of who do we get that's better than Dabo? It's
many coaches that are better than Dabo. I think
it's a terrible dilemma to be in if you're a Clemson program. But if you're Auburn, I would have stuck it out with Hugh Freeze one more year, trot him out next year. He the minute he sucks after 2 SEC games, you fire him, and then bam, you're the number one option next year. And if you're not the number one option, guess what? You're the number 2 option. But
do you know off the top of your head what Dabo's buyout is?
It's in it's probably $40 million, I think.
If I'm the Clemson AD and I go to my boosters and I go, all right, you want Dabo gone? I need $40 million or whatever his buyout is. And if they hand you that check, I go to Dabo's office and I put it in front of him and I go, you know what this is? That's the money that it costs for me to fire you. We need this is our crossroads. You have earned yourself to have a losing season. You've done great things here. But clearly the way that we've done it before, or you've done it before, needs to be changed. We're going to take this buyout money and we're going to use this for NIL. I need you to go out and recruit not only high schoolers, but key talent to where you can make yourself competitive again. And if you can't do that, see how quickly I raise this buyout money? It won't be that hard to raise it again. It needs to be something strong like that for Dabo to understand he has to change. And I don't want to see him be the next Mike Gundy. I don't want to see him get fired because I would love to play for Dabo. I would love to play for Mike Gundy as long as he's not at Oklahoma State because I'm not wearing that god-awful orange. That's not happening.
So you'd rather wear a different shade of orange? Go to Clemson?
I'm not going to Oklahoma State. Or Texas.
I think...
Yeah, I'd rather wear Clemson orange.
Man, excuse my yawns, but again, if you're a high-level D1 program, the buyout money does matter. And again, if I'm Clemson, who's better than Dabo you're going to get in this market?
Nobody's better than Dabo.
And
Dabo has earned himself.
And then here's the thing.
A long leash. There's 3 active head coaches that have won national champions, and you have one of them. What was Clemson before Dabo? Nothing. A laughing stock. They are exactly how we looked at Duke football. They went, 8-4. That's good for them. That's cute. They can go to the Citrus Bowl. They get to go to Orlando. That's cute. Maybe we'll watch them play the 9th best SEC team. He made that team, and he made them so much money. The university as a whole. Dude, Dabo could have 4 terrible years. I still wouldn't fire him if I'm Clemson. I'm building a statue tomorrow of Dabo. He should mean everything to your football program and your school.
We shall see. Only time will. Any parting thoughts, Hunter? I think you said your parting thought, but...
Yeah, that was pretty much it, yeah.
Well, we got a heck of a slate coming up. We got tons of content, people. If you've listened this long, we thank you. But we're posting content every day. We got Dog of the Week. We got a Heisman Dog Leader, or the Heisman Pack Leader. We have the Pick'ems on Saturdays. Me and Hunter are in a tightly contested battle for first every single week. So yeah, stay tuned to all that. And yeah, he has been your college football savant, Hunter Malone. I have been Jacob Pearl. Like, comment, share, subscribe on all platforms. We have been Deal with D, not the deal. Whoops, too busy.
Wow.
Whoa. Actually, Hunter, this is for my podcast. Now, we have been the Green Dog Podcast.